Hi everyone, it's Vicki at Stamp with Vicki. Thanks for joining me today. So today we're going to create two very simple fun fold cards, and we're going to use the Celebrate Sunflowers bundle. And the thing that we're also going to do today is kind of stick within the same color scheme. We're going to use the same colors, or at least, for the most part, and the same designer series paper, because I really want to show you how versatile our products can be. So if you buy a certain grouping of products, you can do so many different things with them. We're going to create two cards today, and then I have two additional cards to show you. Now, I've made this particular card here, well, I guess both cards that I'm going to show you today I did for swaps, so I've made it at least 21 times. So this is the first one that we're going to start with, and it's pretty, the colors, I just am in love with how the colors go together and the simplicity of it, because it's a lot of wow factor for just something, a little bit of different cutting, and that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I do want to show you real quick that we are using the Celebrate Sunflowers, which I've said, but there's the actual stamp set, and it's gorgeous. I love it. It just screams late summer, early fall with the sunflowers. So it has wonderful font and sentiments, and I think you'll get a lot of use out of it over the years. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. I am gonna pull in some scrap paper. We'll need that at some point today. And I've done a little bit of pre-cutting and pre-work before to keep this a little on the shorter side for you. The card base itself is actually only 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Sorry about that. I looked and I feel like my cardstock might be crooked, but I think it's okay. Anyway, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this one, it's just that. Usually you fold it in half to get that size, but this time that's the card base. And then the part that, that goes on top of it is 3 inches. Let me double check that, because it is 3 1/4. That's why. 3 1/4 inches by 8 1/2. And you just score that and fold it in half at 4 1/4. Okay, so let me grab my bone folder and do that. The first thing I did, and I did it off camera because I ran out of plugs for my iPad, iPhone, lighting, and everything else that I needed. So I ran out of cords for, well, not cords, but plugs for the heat gun. So I did emboss Know That You Are Loved, and it's Versamark ink and white embossing powder. So that we're simply going to attach right to the card base. We can go ahead and do that now, and we'll set that aside. You can see here I'm using the Stamp and Seal. We're making friends. Well, we've made friends. And when you're using it, don't overdo it. You want to be mindful of how much you're using, and you don't need that much. So it looks pretty already. Look at that. Love, love, love. So Misty Moonlight, I think, is my favorite new in color. I really, really do like the Magenta Madness, but I think this blue is just stunning, and it's a great option for a neutral when you don't want gray or brown, well, or black or white. Okay, actually this can still stay aside. So what we're going to do is we are going to stamp our sunflower. Oh, by the way, all the cards that we create today will be using the Misty Moonlight cardstock and So Saffron. So with a stamp that's so big, what I typically like to do is take my ink pad and just stamp it on the top. Now I have just reloaded this, so the ink will be darker than the other card, and that's fine. It needed to be re-inked. So the So Saffron piece is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch square, and it's just enough to stamp the sunflower without a ton of waste, well, really barely any waste, and to cut it out with the new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So there, it's a very pretty sunflower. I have a couple cards today, so I want to make sure that's nice and clean. And then I'm going to take it off to the side and I am going to emboss it. Now, well, not emboss it, color it. To line it up, there's 3 petals, I guess, that kind of go up into the side, and they do the same here. That's just kind of where I found the sweet spot to start anyway, as far as lining it up, because otherwise it'll take you forever. And really what I could do, I didn't think of it, but you know what? Do I have a Sharpie? Let's do it now. I can't find my Sharpie. I know you're here. Well, oh, there it is. Nice time to do it. But I think what I'll do is mark over here so that I remember, because I know which flower petals on the stamp, on the, you know, on the inked image, those petals, those points go with. So I'm going to come over here. Now, I wanted to show you the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's just too big for my table and to get under the camera the way I have everything set up, so I am doing it off to the side. But I will tell you what I love about it the most is that it's so smooth. So yes, you can fold it up, you know, and it's smaller so that you can bring it places, you can store it more easily. Those are definitely a lot of really strong points and, you know, pros about it. But I think my favorite part really is that it's just so much smoother. Somebody pointed out to me last night during a class that you don't have that pop at the end that we did with the Big Shot. So there's pretty sunflower. And now, I forgot to take it out. Well, I guess that's okay. What I'll do is I'll just show you. These are the sunflower dies. And I forgot to take out this one, which one we're going to use. You'll see I already pre-stamped and cut the leaves, just again to save some time on the video, but that's what I use to punch out the leaves. You can see there's different sizes, the center of the sunflower, and just some other fun leaves, and a little sunflower. So what I did here, let me close my ink so I don't end up putting my elbow in it. We're using the gold foil paper, and I cut that as well at 3.5 by 3.5 inch squared. And I attached the adhesive sheet on the back of that. I think you can see that. I cut it just kind of guessing, so it doesn't go all the way to the edges, but it's not really going to need to do that. I mean, I probably even could have cut it in strips, but so it is. So we're going to go with it, and it's going to make a giant sunflower sticker, and you're going to see that. And again, I am going to use my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So if you're in the market for a cutting machine, it really is a strong contender. I like it a lot. I think that's good. And I've only used it a few times. I just got it, well, I guess a couple weeks ago, but then I went away and, you know, been busy. I hadn't really pulled it out to use it. The reviews though during my class last night were strong. Oh boy. Okay. Okay, so I'm pushing out all these. What I didn't bring over was my the brush that I can use to do this. And I just ran it through once, and it seems to be working really well. I used to run the Big Shot through multiple times, especially for, you know, more intricate images. So almost done here. And a lot of times, I mean, for this one, I want all the big pieces out. But a lot of times when I have a detailed image, I actually just leave some of those little pieces in because I can't be bothered to take them all out. And sometimes it just gives it a really cool look. But for this, I want them all out. And I think, oh, look at that. It's going to come out when I pull. Perfect. Okay. So now I have a sunflower sticker. I'm going to get rid of this. Check this out. It's actually kind of cool. It's trash, but it's kind of cool. All right. Let's get that over there. Here we go. And we're going to use the same trick. We're going to layer this right on top of our flower. And I'm going to find those two, oh, there we go, the three kind of curvy petals and line it up the best I can. There you go. Once you find your sweet spot, it's easy. It just takes a time or two. There we go. I just thought that was really fun. The gold foil gives it some flair. All right, so like I said, I've pre-cut and cut out, or pre-stamped and cut out the leaves. We have 3 leaves. And let's see, I guess what I do it different ways this time than I think before, just for simplicity's sake. Sometimes I use glue dots, and you can just decide, where's my, I'm going to put 2 leaves over here on the left. And then 1 down on the other side. Make sure you squish that down really well. So really, you know, another thing to think about is this card really is super simple. And I'm thinking with Christmas coming and all of that, there's just tons of uses. And I love the way it showcases designer paper. All right, so all I'm going to do is actually take, I think I'm going to take a dimensional, well, a couple of dimensionals, and pop that up. I didn't do that on my last card. I think I'm going to do it. Or maybe I did and just can't tell. I guess I used all those. Oh, no, I didn't. No. There we go. Okay. And it, yeah, say all these will fit, so. Oh goodness, every now and again, one wants to be stubborn. Actually, there's no place to pick them, but I bought some sunflowers a couple weeks ago at the store, and it was just really nice. All right. So obviously you can place that on your card however you would like. You know, I'm gonna stop here for a second. Probably what I would do before I put that on is attach this strip to the card base. I mean, you can see it really didn't affect the way the adhesive went on, so it'll be fine. And I make sure that you can see what was stamped, and also you want to give a little space to the right side. I didn't leave as much as I had before, but it's not really going to matter. I scooched that over a little too far without thinking. That still works. And we're going to add a bow I made with the Bumblebee gingham ribbon. So the cardstock that we're using is the So Saffron in the ink, but this, I mean, it goes so well. So, and I just, you know, it's perfect for sunflowers and with the garden green. I'm gonna go ahead and give the sunflower a little love. And I can't find my enamel dots. I know I put them somewhere. Anyway, that's okay. I did add some enamel dots. Let me show you those. There we go. 1, 2, 3. So it does add a finishing touch. And, you know, I'll find them 3 seconds after this is over. So anyway, here we are with our first card. And it opens up. You could always put a piece of Whisper White. I did this in the next card. I don't know if I have it here. And maybe put a little bit of sunflower underneath. You can write your sentiment in it. So that's our first card. Super easy fun fold once again. And let me show you our second card. I have no idea what the name of this card is, like the design, but it's really cool. So thanks a bunch. Again, I kept it really simple. And if you have the bundle, you could always go and add the gold foil on top if you wanted. You know, again, this is first swap and I just wanted it quick and simple. Oh yeah, here we go. So I added that piece on the inside so that they could sign the card. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start putting that together. Now the card base, again, is a little bit of a unique size. Usually, well, I'm going to leave it at that. It's a little bit of a unique size, and it is cut at 8 3/4 by 4 1/4. I did forget to mention, I will have all of the measurements and products that I've used today on my blog after the video, so you'll have access, to everything to learn how to create the card. You can go back and watch the video. Okay, so this is going to be our card base. I'm going to set that aside for a second, and I have the same exact size So Saffron piece. Again, you can see staying with the same color family, well, not color family, but color theme. And I'm going to stamp the sunflower once again in So Saffron. The ladies made this card last night at in our stamp class. We started meeting again, keeping it really small, but it was really nice just to stamp with people again. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so go ahead. There we go. And I'm going to go over here off to the side just for a quick second so I can cut this out. I am using a new magnetic plate, which is pretty cool, by the way. The old one moved around a lot, and this one seems to hold, well, it moved the dies around a lot. This one seems to hold the dies in place, which is fantastic. And it also serves as a cutting mat, well, a cutting plate. Okay. Oh, shoot. I thought it went off there for a second, but it was good. Oh my goodness. That's weird. Oh, you know what? Okay. You know what I did? This is funny. There's always something. I used the wrong die. I hadn't switched the dies. So, my goodness. Well, that's weird. All right, so we're going to have to do that again. Not a big deal. See, we make mistakes too. Thankfully, I have a spare piece of cardstock. I usually do because you just never know. It's really kind of funny. It's frightening though when you do something like that. It's your very last piece of designer paper or cardstock, and you just got, just enough, and you're make a rookie mistake. There we go. And now for the correct die versus this guy, which is pretty. All right. Well, I'll tell you that marking those, putting those little marks on the die sped up the amount of time that it takes me to line it up. And like I said, I had a pretty good system and I knew what to look for. So just a dot will do you. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we are going to take, one second. No, I guess I didn't. All right, never mind. This 1 inch by 4 inch strip, and I have scored it at 1 inch. So we're gonna go ahead and burnish that. And set it aside because I forgot we're gonna stamp some more sunflowers. And this time we're going to stamp them in Misty Moonlight. And that's, I wanted to do the So Saffron first because it's a much lighter color. I do oftentimes do a lot of monochromatic stamping for backgrounds. It's an easy way that's, I think, kind of classic and simple, and it adds a lot of flair and texture and movement and grounding to your cards sometimes. So I do that technique a lot. You'll notice that here and there. Okay. And that should dry a little bit lighter. So I'm doing 2 partial sunflowers and trying not to line them up exactly, you know, one on top of the other. You can see I pushed that over. I think it just gives it a little bit more dimension, which makes a little bit more sense. Okay. So over here on the cover on the front of the card, you know what I didn't mention is that for the designer paper, we used the, I have it written down, guys, In Good Taste designer series paper, and I stuck with that same designer paper through all these cards. So again, it can show you the versatility and the amount of use you can get just through one grouping of products. And I don't know about you, but I am in love with these wooden backgrounds. Love, love, love. Okay. We have one more thing to stamp. I'm going to pull in the scrap paper one more time. I shouldn't need it, but we're going to stamp the sentiment. This is "Thanks a Bunch." Whew, a little crooked. I left myself barely any room. There we go. Well, it's still crooked, so I guess we'll just go with this guy. When you're making this card, we're going to start to put it together. We have a couple things to think about. Let's start here. I'm going to use the mono liquid glue because it's I mean, probably our strongest adhesive. Don't need a ton of it, but there's going to be a lot of movement and a lot of weight on that little piece of cardstock. And I'm going to line it up. It also gives you a little time in case you wanted to move it. Just about in the center here. Fold it over, and that's what's going to kind of hold our card down. All right, so now we're going to build our sunflower. I have 2 leaves for this one and my glue dots. Quick and simple, I just put it right here on the edge. And again, just kind of off to the left side. You probably hear my dog getting comfy for his afternoon nap. All right. I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal adhesive. You know, you could use anything. You could use liquid glue, you could use Stampin' Seal Plus. You could even use glue dots. But I'm going to go ahead and lay the sunflower on top of that because it needs to open. So if you put adhesive on the sunflower, it might be a little harder to judge the space. And if you get adhesive out here, then it'll stick to the card. It'll just make it a little tricky to open or stick it depending on how much you actually do use. And that's what I was just going to say about the sentiment as well. Concentrate on putting your adhesive just under the word bunch, because the thanks side is going to, you know, hang off. And again, you don't want that necessarily catching on the designer paper. A, you can rip it, and B, you really want to, you know, make sure that it opens. Okay, and so for the last part of this, I'm going to take my glue dots once again. So I used the same ribbon, the bumblebee gingham, and instead of tying a bow this time, I just did a little knot. You could do either. And Well, I'm going to cover my tea a little bit. I probably should have scooched that over a little bit more. See? All right, well, I'll work on that after. Don't do what I just did. I might come in with a little tiny piece of cardstock and cover that up. So anyway, we have Thanks a Bunch. Again, it's a super simple fun fold. You open, and then you would, you could put a piece of cardstock here with a little note. There we go. And you could also add some of those enamel dots. Girly, I don't know where mine went, but there you go. Okay, so that's card number 2. We'll go back and show you card number 1. Let's see. And look, so for that, we actually used the same exact big sheet of the designer series paper. I went through a lot of that. And you can see they look pretty, similar, but different. So you can get a lot of, movement for your money. I do have a couple other cards to show you. So this one, I wanted to color some sunflowers. I don't think I cased this, but I honestly can't remember. So if I did, and you're out there, sorry that I don't remember. I think it's my own. I use the Stitched So Sweetly dies, so I did add some dies to this. It's a little bit more of an avid. I changed up the enamel dots. Those are the gold glimmer enamel dots. Those are really fun. You can see the shimmer in those. The same card pack, but it was a different color of the cardstock. And then again, same thing. And you can see this sunflower, same colors. Let's Celebrate You. I stuck with the Misty Moonlight, and the designer series paper also comes from the In Good Taste designer paper packet. And for this one, I did use the stitched rectangles dies and some linen thread. You can, if you have extra supplies, obviously you can use them and just expand it. And if you don't, you can still just cut a rectangle and it would look just as pretty. You could barely even tell, that it's stitched, so you wouldn't really even be missing anything. So I love the versatility and the coordination of our products, and they can go really far. And there's more where those came from. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed our visit today. Let me get some of these cards out. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and like the video. I'm trying to grow my business and would appreciate any views or shares or subscribes. And I will post the information to my blog on under the description after the video. And so then you'll have the measurements, all the products that I've used, and anything else that you might want to know or need. And other than that, I invite you to share it and stamp with your friends and show me what you do. I'd love to see. So thank you so very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.